Let us rewind before the world turned digital. Minuscule data was generated, mostly documents were there which were in the format of row and columns. Single storage unit and processor combination was sufficient for them. With the coming of internet, amount of data increased exponentially. Images, audios, videos, etc. Many different kinds of data were now part of the processing problems and were considered as big data. It was impossible to handle this big data with single storage and processor unit. They weren't made for this and hence weren't suitable for this. So, distributed storage and processing systems were required. In comes Google File System, and its white paper was released by Google. This was the architecture on which dog cutting in Yahoo and his team created Hadoop. Same was open sourced and big data processing came in open domain. The storage unit for this solution was named HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System, a distributed storage unit that used blocks as storage. Multiple data nodes housed this data distributed. For example, 600 MB of data was split into chunks like 4 blocks of 128 MB and one separate block of 88 MB of the left data. Now the question arises, what happens when one node goes down? Does this data get lost? Is the processing stopped? The solution was replication. Data blocks were replicated according to the replication factor set. 3, for example, was the default setting. MapReduce is the processing part of this distributed data system. Data across different nodes was processed in mapper phase and then individual results were accumulated in the reducer phase. Word count example can be seen in this regard. Document is split into lines and then individual words are taken into key value pairs and then final result was reduced to a list of words and number of times they occurred in the document. Input, split, mapper, shuffle sort, reduce and then the final result. Yarn is the third part of this puzzle. Yarn is a resource manager for RAM, disks, etc. Resource manager assigns resource to node manager, which gives them to application masters and then containers. Other than these three, there are other components in the Hadoop ecosystem also, like Pig for scripting, Hive for SQL-like syntax, Spark for in-memory processing, Kafka messaging queue, and NoSQL databases like HBase, Cassandra, etc.